Hey everyone. Today, I'm super excited to share with you one of my all-time favorite comfort foods, cornbread. There's just something about that warm, buttery goodness that makes everything feel right in the world. Whether you're having it with chili, serving it as a side for a holiday feast, or just enjoying a slice with a little honey butter on top, cornbread is a staple that everyone should know how to make at home. So grab your apron, and let's get started. First things first, let's talk about the ingredients. You don't need a ton of fancy stuff for this recipe. In fact, you probably have most of these ingredients sitting in your pantry right now. You'll need 1 cup of cornmeal, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, a quarter cup of sugar, which adds that nice sweetness, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and a little bit of salt to bring everything together. Now, for the wet ingredients, you'll need 1 cup of buttermilk, 2 large eggs, and a quarter cup of melted butter. If you don't have buttermilk, don't worry. You can easily make your own by adding a tablespoon of vinegar or lemon juice to a cup of regular milk and letting it sit for about 5 minutes. It works like a charm. Alright, once you've gathered all your ingredients, it's time to get mixing. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. This is important because you want your cornbread to bake up nice and fluffy. While your oven is heating up, grab a large mixing bowl and combine your dry ingredients first. So, toss in that cornmeal, flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. Give it a good whisk to make sure everything is well blended. I like to think of this as a little workout. It's a great way to get those arms moving. Now, in another bowl, we're going to mix our wet ingredients. So, crack those eggs into the bowl, add your buttermilk, and pour in the melted butter. Whisk it all together until it's nice and smooth. You want to make sure those eggs are fully incorporated because nobody likes a surprise chunk of egg in their cornbread, right? Once you've got your wet ingredients mixed, it's time to combine the two bowls. Pour the wet mixture into the dry mixture and gently stir it together. Here's a little tip. Don't overmix. You want to combine everything just until the dry ingredients are moistened. A few lumps are totally okay. Overmixing can lead to tough cornbread, and we definitely want it to be light and fluffy. Now, if you're feeling adventurous, this is the time to add in some extras. You could throw in some shredded cheese for a cheesy cornbread or diced jalapenos if you like a little kick. Some people even add corn kernels for that extra burst of flavor. The world is your oyster, so feel free to get creative. Next, let's talk about the baking dish. You can use a cast iron skillet, an 8 by 8 inch baking dish, or even a muffin tin if you prefer individual servings. If you're using a skillet, make sure to put it in the oven while it preheats. This will give your cornbread a nice crispy edge, which is absolutely divine. If you're using a baking dish, just grease it up with a little butter or non-stick spray to ensure it doesn't stick. Once your oven is nice and hot, carefully remove your skillet or baking dish and pour the batter in. It should sizzle a little if you're using a hot skillet, which is a good sign. Now, pop it in the oven and let it bake for about 20 to 25 minutes. You'll know it's done when the top is golden brown and a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. While it's baking, let's take a moment to appreciate the wonderful smell that's going to fill your kitchen. There's nothing quite like the aroma of fresh cornbread wafting through the air. It's like a warm hug, isn't it? Once your cornbread is done, carefully take it out of the oven and let it cool for a few minutes. If you can resist the urge to dive right in, that is. I mean, I get it, the temptation is real. But letting it cool a bit will make it easier to slice. Now, here comes the best part, serving it up. You can cut it into squares or wedges, whatever you prefer. And let's not forget the butter. A pat of butter melting on a warm piece of cornbread is just heavenly. If you want to take it up a notch, whip up some honey butter by mixing softened butter with a bit of honey. Spread that on top, and you'll be in cornbread heaven. And there you have it. A super easy, delicious cornbread recipe that you can make right at home. It's perfect for gatherings, cozy nights in, or just because you're craving something comforting. I hope you give this a try and enjoy it as much as I do. Don't forget to let me know how it turns out in the comments below. Happy baking, everyone!